Alrighty. Hello, everybody. This is Elijah and Jeffrey from Miracle to Australia, and we're having a chat with Roger Gunderson, or sorry, Dr. Roger Gunderson, who supplies us with the nano products. How's it going, guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Very good, Elijah. It's good to have you on, Dr. Gunderson. It's been a long time.
Been a while.
We've been waiting for this for a long time.
We've been counting the days.
Yeah, that's good though. We can get it done now and get moving ahead.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
I was wondering, Roger, if you could give a bit of background on yourself just for our customers, so they.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have time for all of it, but
Maybe just parts.
We can always edit.
Yeah, well, I'll kind of run through it. So
Yeah.
I guess we could start off my education. I have several degrees. One of the most important one I had was with a doctor who taught me the basics of ionics. I have a PhD, and then I got an ND degree and another PhD degree. And from that point, I was in the medical business for several years. I was in the pharmaceutical business and blood banking, medical research and product development, AIDS research. And then in the late 1996, almost 97, I started my company basing the first product I had on ionization. One of the professors that I had was very clear in the fact that you need ionization, no matter what it is. Obviously, proteins aren't ionized, but minerals and even a lot of herbs, etc., need to be ionized to work. And from that point, I started developing other products. And few years down the road, we got into the magnesium, and I developed the zinc, potassium, and several other products are on the way. Working on one for the chromium that I believe you requested. And I'd already started to work on that before I got your email. It's very important because it helps with the blood sugar stabilization and energy, etc. But really, the products on the market today are not really that viable because they're not in the ion form. So I'm working on that. I should have it done in the next few weeks, hopefully. So that's kind of the background of where I've come from. And I know you guys are big on the magnesium, which is one of my favorite products, one of the favorites that I developed. We sell a lot of that. We have several distributors up in Canada, and they just buy a lot of it because it just works.
And it tastes so good too.
Yeah, not bad, huh?
I like
that
it.
was one of the biggest problems. You have people that don't like the taste, but
Yeah.
but the great thing about this magnesium is I was working with a distributor many years ago, and she proved that our product outperforms most products. I can't say all because that would give us a lawsuit, but most products, because of the ionization factor. And she set up in Canada a lot of doctors and proved over time that our product works better than virtually every other one. Again, I can't say everyone because we don't want a lawsuit, and it all goes back to the body. The human body is full of ion channels that have specific functions and abilities. So when we're looking at magnesium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, etc., potassium, we want to look at the fact that we have channels within the human body that have receptor sites that welcome the right kind of product into the cell. That's where the activity takes place that allows for better, healthy cells. So these ion channels are really critical in understanding how absorption is really dealt with by the human body. A matter of fact, I did write a paper, and I put a little excerpt of it on the website. I believe you read it, Elijah, about milligrams versus ions. You know, that if we look at what a milligram is, basically in science, it's a weight, something we weigh by using a scale. But in that factor of weight, do we really take into the account of the ionization potential? No, not really. We're just looking at a milligram. So of all the people out there selling magnesium by the milligram, what are they really getting? They're getting a weight, certain amount of product. Now, that leads us to the problem of the human body having to be able to absorb it into the right place. And that's where the ionization comes in and understanding ion channels. If people could just grasp a hold of the ion channel factor, their health would improve substantially. I know you sell the zinc as well. That's a product to me. I get frustrated with the fact that more people don't take zinc. And that's just really sad to me because it's such a necessary product and it's not getting absorbed properly. There are certain countries in the Asian market that we do business with, and I know they have a real issue over there with zinc deficiency. And this is caused by some of the products that they take, the soy products, for example. They actually,
interesting.
the soy products actually bind zinc.
Wow.
You know, and so there was a study that was done. I don't have it in front of me, but that was done by women in Korea. I'll give you the country that was specific for that study. That they've proved that the women, because they eat so much soy and drink soy lattes, etc., their zinc levels were down significantly, almost to the point of a health risk. And that was because the protein in the soy actually binds the zinc. So people that are not zinc healthy, I'll call them. I got to always be careful with my words, right? Because of the world we live in today is not like it used to be. But the fact that people are not taking the damn zinc, you know, they think zinc is for a cold season. That's been sold by big pharma, right? They like the cold season, so we do this, we do that, we do this. But take it every day and your life will be healthier, guaranteed, because it will boost your immune system. But you must take it in an ionic form that doesn't cause a gut ache. A lot of these products on the market cause a stinking stomach ache. You know, women, a lot of pregnant women need zinc as well. And they don't want to take it because they get an upset stomach. Well, it's kind of like the iron as well as one of the other products that we have available. But that also is dealt with by ionization. So a lot of the side effects that are seen out there by some of the companies, they're really not doing a real favor or a service to the people because they're really not delivering the optimum benefit that they could get. That's where we come into play. That's what my whole company is built upon. The fact that we have products that are easy to take and they are effective, very effective. And that's the key to the whole thing. So getting back to the history of my company, it's always a battle to find that medium range where people will take it, but yet it's not offensive, but efficient. And that's what we really base our company on, is efficiency. And so when we look at milligrams, you know, the RDA was set up, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it was set up during World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, RDA was actually set up to sustain life. It was the minimum amount of food you needed to sustain life. That's where the RDA came from.
What's the RDA mean?
Anything else, really?
It's the recommended daily amount.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, that all came from from World War II when they were trying to feed everyone. Say, what is the minimum amount of food we need? So they came up with a standard. And, you know, we've proven it over and over and over again with our magnesium, for example. We outperform everybody. I can't really say everybody, but again, I will say most. Because of the fact that we have ionized it, and the ions have energy. You know, when you have a powder, a lot of these capsules that you have for magnesium are in a powder, right? So you take a capsule, you put it in the gut, then you have to deal with other things besides just taking the powder and making it do something for you, turning it into an ion. You have transit, you know, gut transit time. So maybe by the time you take the capsule, you're not really getting what you need because you've expelled it already out the other end. So those are things we look at when we talk about the efficiency of these products. As soon as you take them, they are on their way to being absorbed. That's really the critical issue with this whole thing.
What's
And
the
I can't really go over it over and over and more and more and more and more because that is the bottom line. And if anyone wants to argue with you, they don't know what they're talking about. Bottom line. You can look up ion channels and everything, and you'll find study after study after paper on ion channels and the ability to get things intracellular, because that's where all the energy and the good stuff is taking place.
I can confirm what you're saying because we have several naturopaths and homeopaths that get these products, and they said it just works. You know, they just get the best results from their customers. So that's why they use it. I'll just close that so we don't get that noise.
What's the actual absorption rate between sort of the ionic products and just the average product, you know, with powder form and things like that?
What is that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
What's the actual absorption rate between, you know, sort of like a powdered magnesium and your magnesium, the ionic?
Well, you know, that's a tough one to really answer because there's so many variables. But if you look at it from the fact that most of the products you take are in a capsule form, you take it in the gut. If the gut isn't healthy, you're probably getting half, maybe 60% of it. But then it has to go into the ion form, so it gets brought into the ion channels. So if you take our products, put them in water, or take them under the tongue, whatever you choose. If you take them in water, you think about it, you're accelerating it because you're giving it the water, which the body always is hungry for more water. And you've got the zinc ions in there, or the magnesium ions or the potassium ions. So the body is recognizing those units and saying, oh, wow, this is great. That's why they work, because they're so readily available for cells.
I guess the thing with powders is the body then has to break that down into an ionic form before.
Yeah, and the body is very inefficient in that respect. Remember, it's a time zone. People forget about this. You know, they take it and they think, oh, wow, I've taken it. Well, how long, you know, we have bowel transit time. How much time do you really have to get it absorbed? That's the question. And some people don't get it absorbed at all because they have a very inefficient gut. We don't have to worry about or even think about those situations because we know we've already kind of pre-digested it, if you will. So it's ready to go. It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
As soon as it's in the body, boom, ready to go.
So when plants take up minerals out of the earth, they're doing the same thing, aren't they? They're turning it into an ionic form that we can easily ingest.
That's right.
And the only problem is the plants.
A lot of the plants use fulvic acid to uptake. So it's, you know, so that step in itself is ionizing.
Yeah.
So plants are ionizing, so it becomes efficiently absorbed into the cells.
And the problem is that most plant foods we're eating these days just don't have the amounts that they used to have, and it's difficult to get very difficult to get your RDA, you know, just in plant and just in food these days. So.
Yeah, and even the RDA thing with the food is, you can grind it up and you can measure it in a test tube, but it's so different than measuring it in the gut. You know,
Yep.
it's a big thing. Gut
Yep.
health is very important. Now, you know, that's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize how ill they are. The foods we have in the marketplace today are not good, and we all know that. So they're probably running 50% efficiency, maybe less.
Yep.
And so when you start throwing things in the gut, thinking, "Oh my God, I took my 400 milligrams of magnesium today. I just feel so good," but they don't really feel that good because they're not really getting it.
Mm.
So it's a big thing, and I talk about this all the time. We have a company that we deal with out of Korea. I've done 25 videos with them, and at the end of the day, it seems like I'm always stressing one thing: ionization and cellular absorption. That's really the bottom line.
For
And
sure.
for anyone that doesn't get that fact, they're missing the boat. You know, and I've been in this, I've had my company for 25 years, 26 years actually this year. And the thing that is amazing is how we make the ionization potential possible. So we have figured out how to make products that are ionic, that are efficient. There are other ionic products out there in the market, but they're not efficient. Ours are very efficient. We use certain tools, I will say, that make our products very, very efficient. But we don't discuss or disclose how we do it because that's our trade secret.
Yep.
What does ionization actually mean?
Well, if you look at the periodic table of elements, if you look, let's just say we'll use zinc or we'll use zinc and magnesium or calcium. So it's really the energy. If you were to look at a periodic table, you'd see magnesium. Okay, it has a certain level of energy, and that's the energy called ionization. So it's an ion, meaning one, that is the energy contained in that particular ion. In this case, we're talking about magnesium, zinc, potassium, etc. It's the energy contained within that is released. So most people, we know, if you look at the raw materials on the marketplace, you don't get zinc per se. You can get raw zinc, but it's usually bound to something. Same with magnesium. You can't just go, you can buy magnesium by itself, but it's not stable because it wants to bind with something else. So if you, again, getting back to your question, if you look at the periodic table, you see zinc or magnesium or potassium or chromium, those specific things are what we call ions. That is what needs to be released in the body so the ion channels will understand. Every cell has what is called cellular intelligence. It knows the difference. So if you're throwing a bunch of stuff in your body hoping that it's going to get to the right place, that's probably not going to happen because, again, the body recognizes it. You know, that's one of the other things with our formulas. We try to make it so the body not only recognizes the element itself, the ion, but it also recognizes the carrier position that it's in, so it doesn't get blocked at the entrance to the cell. And that's the other critical point. Because, for example, let's just digress to calcium, for example, because it does involve magnesium. The big pharma, and I'm not picking on big pharma, I'm just discussing it. I was in big pharma for a while myself. So, but if you look at what they promote, you know, and God bless them if they want to promote it, is an ion channel blocker. Have you heard of that one? Have you heard of ion channel blockers? Right?
I
Yes.
haven't.
I have,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
So ion channel blockers do what?
Block the channel.
They block the channel. Why do they do that? Because in the case of calcium, there's too much calcium coming in the cell. Too much calcium coming in the cell causes cellular death, necrosis. So that's where you get the ion channel calcium blockers. That's where that comes from. Which brings us to the point. Magnesium is an ion channel calcium blocker. Think about that.
Mm.
So the whole world, guys, could be exponentially healthier if they were all taking magnesium.
Or
Just
the
that
right
simple point
magnesium.
right there. I mean, that's profound stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I don't
So
mean to
what-
be blowing off, but I mean, to me, this is a critical point.
So what you're saying, if you feel that with one felt that they were high in calcium, or if they were getting calcium stones or whatever symptoms they were getting, just by supplementing with magnesium, they could
Yes,
start reversing that.
that's my theory. Yes. Again, I can't make those statements demonstratively because I don't want to get sued by
Yep.
somebody.
Yep.
But you're right. I mean, it's theoretical. You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I've been aware of that for quite a long time.
Yeah. Excuse me. I have to adjust my chair. I don't know. I put a cushion on it, and it's just terrible. I gotta move the cushion a little bit. Sorry about that, guy.
That's all good.
There we go. All righty. Back at it. Okay. Go ahead. Next question.
So when you're talking about calcium death and you're saying when we have too much calcium, would that be from like having too much dairy? Because I know growing up,
No,
we're
no,
always
that,
like,
that really doesn't. That doesn't really have anything to do with it.
oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
I,
the dairy that's a whole nother deal. Dairy, a lot of times, I don't know about Australia, but in the US, they actually supplement the milk with calcium because there's not enough calcium in the milk. I don't know if they do that in Australia or not.
They probably do.
Probably
Yeah.
do.
I know in Australia, I was talking to somebody in the water board, and they were telling me how they put calcium in the town water for several reasons. One, to soften it. Two, to stop it pulling the calcium out of the concrete pipes and destroying the concrete that the concrete tanks and the concrete pipes that
Right.
it's channeled through. So otherwise, the water's quite hard. It actually pulls the calcium out of the concrete, and then
Yeah, that's right.
the calcium actually, so the concrete actually then starts deforming and breaks down, and your water tank falls apart. So
That's right. Exactly. But again, getting back to the other thing, Elijah, the protein in milk also binds calcium. So that's why they would supplement the milk with calcium, because the protein at a certain level is binding calcium. It's really a fascinating, just these few minerals that we talk about, there's just endless amount of information that needs to be understood because people just don't get it, and that's a shame for them. People, they have restless legs, they have sleep problems, et cetera, and it's very solvable, but they have to understand what to do. And that's where we believe that we're on the right track with, we keep getting orders and orders and orders, and people always come back to us because the stuff works. And why does it work? Because we're communicating, the product is communicating with the cells, and the cells are communicating with the ion channels, and the ion channels are bringing in to the cell nutrients that are efficient and cause the cell to be healthy. And that's really the bottom line. And we have more products coming out too. We actually have some that are on the market that you probably would be interested in down the road, but we're not talking about that today. But same theory. Get it in the cell where it needs to be utilized.
Awesome.
Okay. Next question.
I was you're talking about the benefits of zinc. I was interested in what are some of the other benefits of zinc, because I've heard it's good for men and it's good for balancing testosterone or things like that. But what do you know about zinc?
Well, zinc actually helps to upcharge the testosterone, so it's actually involved in that. It's good for infections. Primarily, it also works on a lot of enzymes. You have a lot of enzymes that depend on zinc for the function. Otherwise, the enzymes within the body that need to do certain things aren't being utilized properly because they can't find the zinc they need to utilize. So, I mean, there's a whole. I think you were on the website, my website that explained zinc Is that right or not?
I read the magnesium section, and I think I read the calcium section.
Okay, well, there is another section on zinc that
Okay.
I'm upgrading the whole thing, so more information available.
That'd
We
be
actually
awesome.
we don't sell off the website. Our
I've said,
our website is for information. So in other words, if your people wanted to, go on the website, they could know that you could know that they're not going to buy from us. They'd
yep,
have to
yep.
go through you.
And
So.
we'll put that website on the end of this video.
Yeah, I mean it's being changed and modified right now, but I want to get the chromium on there.
Yep.
I want to get a lot more information, but I've been very busy developing a couple new products, and it's just eating up my clock.
Yep. Yep.
I actually have a. It's fascinating. I have a new product. It's a skincare product that I've been working on. It's for the U.S. market primarily, but
Mm-hmm.
it's taken me several months of laborious information input and trying to figure out the right blend of everything. And we finally got it. So
Oh wow.
it's a good market for us.
I've got another
Good
question
for
about
your skincare people over there too. Eventually, we'll get to it. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
But,
Oh, I'd love to try it.
yeah, it's awesome.
I've got another question about zinc, actually.
Yeah.
And I do have a paper somewhere that lists all the benefit of zinc or benefits of zinc, and it goes on and on and on. It's pretty much endless. It just keeps going and going. But I had one customer who tried our zinc, and she said she went back to the one she was using because she was getting an energy boost from it.
From our zinc?
From this other one that she was taking, and it was a tablet form, so I suspect it had some kind of some sugars or something in it.
More than likely.
You know,
You can also tell her to try it sublingual.
Okay.
Just try it underneath the tongue, sublingual.
Yep.
Try that. If we're not going to get them all, because there are a lot of products, like you said. They probably have a little sugar in there, a little something else. We don't know. But as far as efficiency goes, ours works.
Yep. Because it shouldn't. Zinc shouldn't give you an instant energy boost.
No, it's not designed for that. Not at all.
Yeah,
now, when we get you the chromium, that's the one you're going to like, because that's the one that we deal with the receptor sites on the cells. That's what zinc does, or chromium. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep.
Chromium, the receptor sites. We increase those over time. They get muted, destroyed, and put in a position where they can't be efficient. But chromium really does a great job. I'm kind of bragging about the product coming, but I think it's going to be good for you guys. It's going to be good for everyone.
Yeah, I've got the same naturopaths that use the other products. So they're asking about the chromium because I use it a lot. So
to develop a product like that into an ionic form, it takes a lot of mental energy from me, because certain things just don't want to do what they're supposed to do, or what we want them to do, I should say. So it takes a lot of effort to get it to where, like the magnesium, it took us years to develop that formula we have today. So it fits. That's the key. But the zinc, getting back to the zinc, people getting a charge out of that, I'm not on board with that. But it's possible, again.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Not for me anyway.
Yeah.
But, I just realized something when you were talking. I actually started selling magnesium, or I started promoting magnesium 25 odd years ago. And I didn't realize for a long time, probably only 5 or 10 years ago, that one of the original products that I started using that really helped me the most was had your nano magnesium in it.
Oh, is that right?
So, yeah.
I'm sold on it. I take it every day. Trust me. Sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day.
So on that point, if somebody was deficient in any one of those particular minerals, they'd be better off doing that 2 or 3 times a day to build up.
Yeah, I would recommend morning, noon, and night.
Because the actual dose is basically a maintenance dose. Is
Well,
that
it
correct?
depends on the individual. Again, it's some people, but in the beginning, I would do morning, noon, and night,
Yep.
and that will give them they'll actually feel it. They'll feel I don't know how to say, I don't want to use the word energy, but they'll feel the benefits.
Yep.
So
How long does it?
in the beginning, yeah.
How
Go
long
ahead,
does it?
sorry.
How long does it take? Because I know a lot of people are really deficient, in all these things. How long does it take to sort of keep taking the minerals to build up to an actual, point where there's enough in the body, sort of thing? Or do you have to sort
Well,
of keep taking
again,
it?
it depends on the individual, but I would say 30 to 6, probably not 30 days if they're deficient. I would say 60 days, thereabouts. Between 30, 45, 60, depending on how bad they are. I mean, I don't know what kind of diet they have or what kind of foods you guys have in Australia, but I know there's a lot of foods up here in America that they deplete magnesium, they deplete zinc. And so if they're doing all that, trying to catch up, it might take a little bit longer. Could take 3 or 4 months.
Well, I know I was quite seriously deficient in magnesium and potassium when I found your products, and I came back pretty quickly, but it still took a long time to actually build up, so that I had reserves. Because from what I understand, your bones store a lot of your minerals. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing is the storage is there so it can be utilized. And if people are not healthy, it will keep taking it.
Yep.
And magnesium doesn't store all that well. So that's one of those. Zinc and magnesium are recommended daily for a reason. And I'm telling you, people will see fantastic results if you stay on it for the rest of your life.
Yep. So if you're deficient, you'd want to be doing that 3 times a day, for a couple of months to build up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Good to know.
How do you know if you're deficient? Like if someone's watching this and they're going, "Oh, am I deficient?" How would they know that tell if they're deficient?
Well, they could go get a blood test, but if they do, if you read the paper on the website about magnesium ions versus milligrams, there is a paper there, and it talks about how to test to make sure. Okay.
We've actually got we put out a little while ago, we put out a questionnaire which will tell you sort of what range of deficiency you may be in magnesium.
Yeah, you can almost tell. Your body will kind of give you the signals that you're getting better. But to answer the question, to be very specific, you can also get a test, but it's a cell test, not a serum test. It's very inefficient.
Yeah, it's interesting because I used to buy the magnesium from the health food shops, and they were saying, "Oh, don't buy the cheap stuff. You want to buy the expensive stuff." So I'd spend about $80 on a tub that would last about a month, and I'm taking it and I'm going, I just don't feel any different. Like, what's going on? And it's $80 for a month's supply. It's a fair bit. And
then, really, no kidding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then I tried this stuff, which is about $35 for a month supply. And yeah, straight away, you just feel it. You go, oh, wow. Like your whole system just feels supported and reinforced. And it's actually quite amazing. So thanks for the products.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, it's one of my goals to keep introducing products. I get busy doing other things, but our magnesium is our workhorse. It's our captain of the ship, if you will.
We actually
we do have other products also. I'm not saying that, but anyway.
These days, we're actually selling almost as much zinc as we are magnesium now.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And especially, I think, since the so-called pandemic, everybody really got onto the zinc train.
Well, that's good for the immune system, and it does help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing is. We could have another conversation about that.
Yeah, we won't do that on air.
No, we won't
Yeah,
even talk
off
about
off
that.
the record.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got any more questions, Elijah?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go over like we've sort of gone over zinc and just so people can get a bit of an idea about what zinc's good for, but I sort of want to get into what magnesium and what potassium's good for because, yeah, just to
Well,
give people an idea.
the great thing about magnesium, a lot of the studies say there's 350 plus
Enzymes.
350 enzyme functions that
Mm.
they use. Okay. So if you're low on magnesium, no matter what you're looking at, if you're low on magnesium, these enzyme functions are not going to happen. So magnesium is good for muscle cramps, brains. It's good for the brain. Our product crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's good. It helps to cause the vasorelaxation. And matter of fact, for an old guy like myself, my resting heart rate at night is 48.
Wow.
That's, I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm just saying that, you get over 50 and you're considered an old guy over here. But my resting heart rate is, matter of fact, I checked it last night. It was 49.
Wow.
I woke up about 1 a.m. and I said, okay, let's go. And it was 49. And you know why? Magnesium. And the muscle cramping or anything like that, the potassium with the magnesium, and the potassium helps with those same or similar problems. But do your heart rate. If you want to do a test for yourself, just do your heart rate and then take a magnesium and some water, and then about 5 to 10 minutes, take it again, and you will notice the difference that your heart rate has slowed down and is more consistent. The other thing is my heart rate, it sounds like a clock. Boo, 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 boo. No misfires or irregular heartbeats. And it's really quite phenomenal. And you can do a test on yourself. But when you have your heart not working so hard, it tells you the body is increasing its energy level, healing. You do self-healing. And you can't do that if you're just in a state of chaos. So the magnesium helps you with all of those issues that we just discussed.
Yeah, I had a similar heart thing. I had a irregular heartbeat, and for a long time, the doctors always tell me I'd have a irregular heartbeat, and that stopped 25 odd years ago once I got onto magnesium.
Yes.
So I haven't noticed it ever since, actually.
Well, again, I was in big pharma, and I know I know what they want to do, and I'm not here bashing them. I'm just making a statement that our product could be in big pharma because they're so good, but for reasons, probably pricing, etc., they don't want us. They don't want it.
Yes.
You can edit all this out too if you want to. I don't want to get into the hardcore stuff that I know, but it'll blow your mind.
We'll leave that one for another video.
Yeah, another video.
That's the off the record video.
Yeah, exactly.
We seem to have the same conversation with a lot of people, don't we, Elijah?
Yeah, comes up a fair bit.
Okay, so next question.
I was interested when you said putting the minerals in water, because I always drop them under my tongue, but are you saying actually putting in a glass of water first is more effective?
No, not necessarily. I sometimes, depending on the person, I for example, today I took my zinc under my tongue. Some days I'll put it in water. And the reason I put it in water is it helps to, if you use proper water, good, clean, that's the other thing. Good, clean water, it helps the ions to spread out. And it helps, as you get older, so you don't face that yet. But as you get older, it's harder to absorb water. And so when you take these products in water, you're actually utilizing the ions and the water, if that makes sense. But a lot of times I take it under my tongue as well. I mean, it's 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. But try it sometime. Just see what you think.
Okay. Yeah, I might try that.
Good, I'll just say 100 mLs of water, 120 mLs. Drop some in there, take it, see what you think. Then you can be the expert.
Hmm. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of this stuff that we talk about is it's experience exponentially created in the mind and the body over time by utilization, if that makes sense. By utilizing the products and doing these little things yourself, you'll see for yourself what you can tell your customers or your doctors that you know, if they're having a patient that's not working well with this, maybe like the lady with the energy with the zinc, maybe she needed to take that in water to see what would happen. But maybe, you know, maybe she has sugar too. I don't know. We don't know about those other products though. Some ideas though.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting. I know you were talking about the soy products before. Jerry Yamina is a guy over here. He's now passed away, but I used to sell his sea mineral products, which is basically seawater. We find down to just the minerals left in there.
Right.
And he always used to say, you stay away from soy.
Yep.
Yeah, he actually said stay away from soy unless it's been fermented for at least 2 years, which was interesting.
Well,
but
yeah, that could be. I had some studies from a few years ago that actually, they call them soy boys over here. Have you heard of soy boys?
No.
Is that a
Soy
band?
boys.
Well, no, I mean, it's actually true. I mean, I have the studies to prove it. But some of the people, you know, they call them soy boys because every morning they go get a cup of coffee with the soy cream. Instead of using cream, they use soy milk. And they proved over time that their testosterone levels went down by taking the soy milk.
Wow.
So there you go.
Actually,
Zinc will help that. Zinc will help to replenish that. So
Right.
you learned a new word today, soy boy. So
Yeah, I'll put that on my shirt or something.
yeah, I know. I wouldn't do that. I would be very careful about that one.
Yeah, I just thought of something when you said that because I once bought some soybeans from like a health shop and I was boiling them, and because apparently they're really high in protein or something like that, or they're
Yeah,
a
they
complete protein or something. But
Yep.
I ate them and my nipples really started hurting. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
I was going, this is a little bit freaky, like, you know.
That's right.
There might be too much information.
Oh.
Yeah, as a matter of
I just threw them out. I was like, oh no, this isn't good at all. Like,
As a matter of fact, just for a quick bit of information for you, it's fun, kind of strange, but fun. If you know, over in the US, there's a lot of femboys, they call them, that they want to become more feminine. And there's actually products on the market that they're called feminizing hormone. And one of the key ingredients is soy. So getting back to zinc. So if you're taking the soy, you want to replenish the zinc because remember, the protein is binding the zinc. So if you do soy, take zinc for sure. Okay, that's important.
And I noticed with the whole vegan movement, sort of, you know, I was trying that for a while, but a lot of the vegan products, or pretty much all of them, have got soy in them. Like it's all like huge amounts of soy. And I know there's this whole thing around vegans getting quite depressed if you're a vegan for a long time. And I'm wondering, is that because of all the soy you're eating? Because, you know,
again, you're creating a deficiency with zinc, which helps with the enzyme functions. And so if you're depleting your zinc, you're not really getting the hormone activity. Okay. So it all makes sense. But being vegan, you know, I studied that. I've never been a vegan. I don't want to be. But I really do believe vegans are deficient in a lot of things. They might look good, but I'm not so sure they are healthy as they think they are. Bottom line, that's my opinion.
Well, that's why I noticed with the whole experience. I was taking a lot more supplements and B12s and things like that, and
yeah,
it just wasn't working out. Yeah, it just wasn't working out.
Yeah. That's it. You're right. No, you're right on. That's self-studies like that. You can promote yourself to a person of knowledge. And that's when we're dealing with these products we're talking about today. That's the real critical issue, understanding. And the biggest thing that, like I would say with you guys, ion channels, ion channels, ion channels. That's almost the mantra, ion channels. That's how we get absorption. That's how we get efficiency. That's how we get success. That's how we see the body rebuild itself. Ion channels. Okay.
Very
So
good.
I know you said on the website, I think the particle size is 500 to 1200 nanometers or something.
Yeah.
So
Well, we try again, many years. One thing about being around for a long time, you learn a lot of things many years ago that people don't know today. And the information is not as available today as it was years ago. But England, we first came out with nano products. And we didn't really tout the fact that, nanometers, et cetera. But England came out and said, nanoparticles are dangerous. So they had a range of anything between 100 and 200 or less is dangerous. So we did some testing on our products. We sent the stuff to a lab in Chicago. They tested us. We could make them a little smaller, but we felt just for safety and security, mental safety to people to take it, that's the range we like to keep it in.
Because I was reading it's small enough to get to all the vital areas
Yes,
of your
absolutely.
body, all inside the organs and things like that.
Right. So, remember, the body has cell intelligence. Every cell has intelligence. It knows what it really wants. And if we can't give it what it really wants, it will accept something lesser to maintain life. The human body, like almost all creatures, they have a will to live, So when you look at cells, for example, cells have what is called a necrosis factor. And these are actually trigger points where cells, it's time to die, right? So the cells will actually die off to produce new cells. So that's a necrosis factor. And it's really important to understand that certain cells need to be dead to get rid of them so you can get new ones. So that's another little we could discuss for a while, but we don't want to get off track too far.
Very good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was curious when you're talking about magnesium and potassium or even zinc, and you're saying how it assists in enzyme function. So can you sort of talk a bit more about that? Like sort of what are enzymes and what's their part in the body? And
well, enzymes are very complicated product or particles, entities, if you will. They're enzymes, you really can't create them. You can't make an enzyme. They have to be made within a body of some sort, an animal, plant, etc. But these function as causing life to exist and to perpetuate. So it's that whole subject. We could talk for hours on what an enzyme is, but they need support to live, and that's the main thing you need to understand about an enzyme function. I mean, you can look up enzymes and you'll go nuts with all the information. But again, without, like we said, magnesium, there's 300. I still believe that number is way off. I think it's more like 500 to 1,000 enzyme functions that depend on magnesium. But science has proven there's 3 to 350. So that's what really the important thing is, to realize that it's the support for the enzyme functions. That's really the key critical issue.
Okay.
Yeah, and that other thing that I was talking about, that it's called programmed cell death. That's when the cells die. That's magnesium plays a role in that. So does calcium. It's a programmed cell death. Okay. That's when the body says it's time to go. And if you don't have the right mineral mix in your body and you're not healthy, you're missing out on PCD, programmed cell death. And that can cause a lot of diseases because
That causes cell mutation, doesn't it? Is that?
yeah, if you're not getting rid of the cells that need to be gotten rid of, yeah, you could, and I don't want to use the C word because
I was about to say.
Yeah, it came
Sweet.
straight to my mind.
we can't use the C word right here
No,
because we don't want to get in trouble. But
that's
think
right.
about it. Think about the C word and what I just said.
Hmm.
So
PCD
if-
and the C word.
The first thing I thought about when I said cell
Yeah.
mutation. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what I thought of it straight away too. I went, oh, that's how that all works. Yeah. So
yeah.
just keeping your mineral levels up will make you a much more healthier person and keep you living longer.
Absolutely. That's really critical. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, people
Awesome.
want to live a long time, but if you're miserable all the time, who the hell wants to live in misery, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're healthy, you could live on and on and on. And I tell you what, I'm such a proponent of magnesium. I really believe it will cause people, if they take it diligently and don't stop for one day, I believe your life can be extended to a really healthy point and just keep on going. And one
Yeah.
day you just drop dead.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's amazing how like 3 minerals can make such a difference. Like, yeah, because I mean, it's like I don't know, when I used to go to the doctors and they'd say, take this for that, take this for that, take this for that. And then you're taking like 20 things to do 20 separate things. And it's like, you got, 3 minerals here, which do like so much to the body. It's just, yeah.
Here's a little inside information concerning magnesium. And I found this study, and it's on one of my old computers. I got to dig it out again. But the LA Fire Department, in the emergency department, when they went to call on people with they were having a heart attack.
Mm.
They didn't tell anybody what they were doing, right? But if they got there within 15 to 20 minutes, they would inject them with magnesium and stop the damn heart attack. How
Oh,
about
wow.
that?
Yeah, I've heard.
You're not going to see that on the news.
Mm.
You're not going to
Yeah.
see that. Hey, yeah, we gave the guy a nice injection of some magnesium, stopped his heart attack. No way you're going to hear that on the news. But
Wow.
that's a fact.
Yeah,
That's
I've
the
heard.
first line of defense. Boom.
I've heard many cases like that, and apparently some good doctors, if they have tried everything else and they got nothing left, they'll try magnesium.
Yeah, well, they
and
should have
that
done
will
it
work.
first.
I know that, but I guess they're contractually obliged to.
Yeah, well, I know about that. Remember, I was in the AIDS research business, big pharma, blood banking, research.
Yeah.
I've been around a while. I've seen both sides of the fence.
Yep.
And so if the bureaucrats would go away, we would have a healthier world. Trust me.
For sure.
Mm.
But anyway, that's another. You probably have to edit that too.
I'll leave that one in. Oh.
Okay. All right. Have you got any more questions there, Elijah?
I think that's most of my questions. Yeah, it's good. I was
Yeah, I hope this helps you guys.
That was awesome.
We can do another ones down the road if you want.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Just a quick question, or it might not be a quick question, but when one is taking, say, I take the potassium, magnesium, and zinc every day. So what about trace minerals and macro and micro minerals?
I'm actually coming out with a trace mineral.
Cool.
It'll be. I have too many things on my plate right now, but it shouldn't be that long.
Yep.
But I want an ionic trace mineral in a bottle that you could take. That's very efficient.
Yep. Cool.
So that'll be out in about 6 months or less.
Would that include selenium, or would you do that as a separate product?
No, we can do that with
Cool.
selenium in it.
Yep. yeah, we've been looking at selenium. So to have a nano selenium would be awesome.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
How-
it just you just have to know how to make this stuff. You know, that's really the key.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, you go down this road and you think, oh, this is just a cakewalk, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then you get in the middle of it and it falls apart. So you got to keep working on it.
So,
But that's the fun part of it for me. I like solving the problem, you know.
so from what I understand, those three are the main three minerals that we need, and our trace elements, trace minerals, will come in via food and other things.
Yeah, the idea of having a trace mineral, though, is to be more efficient again.
Yep.
You know, to give the body that extra boost.
Yep.
But
well, I guess the angle I'm trying to get from too is, you know, if we're just taking these three minerals and we're not doing anything else, that's going to really perpetuate our health. You know, and then our trace minerals will come to us.
well, you do get a lot of trace minerals in food. Again, depending on the food.
Yep.
So is that what happens with the body? Like, so whenever you eat food, the body goes, oh, we've got a mineral. Let's ionize and put it through the ion channels. Is that what it's trying to do every single time?
It's trying to do that. Yes, that's what it's trying to do.
Wow.
That's the fun.
Okay.
The plants would have.
Remember one thing, and this is a real critical thing to remember, along with ion channels.
Ion channels. Yeah.
Every cell has what is called cellular intelligence. It knows what it wants. It just can't get it. That's the difference. So it tries, but as we age, it gets more difficult because the body doesn't have the weapons that it needs to administer the appropriate actions that need to be taken. Okay? But cell intelligence wants these products, wants these minerals. But again, that's why we come out with the magnesium. I still think it's one of the most critical things you can take. And in ion form, it goes boom into the cell.
Yep. Yeah, well, I saw a dramatic change with me as soon as once I started taking, and the reason why I became deficient was I became very dehydrated. For some reason, I stopped taking my water bottle to work. So
well, that's what we just mentioned a little bit ago about putting it in water. So, matter of fact, I hate to keep bringing up things, but I get these thoughts. I'm trying to make a water that's super hydrating, you know, but I don't want to really get in the water business. So
well, we might have one there behind us. This is the other product we sell. So,
okay.
We do have a yeah. So I and just on a quick note for people that are watching this, if you want to have a water that's live, if you get whatever water you're drinking, the better the better, of course. But if you add lemon juice or lime juice, fresh, this is fresh, you know, cut open a lemon and lime and add that straight to the water, you'll liven that water and the cells will be able to recognize it a lot better and hydrate you a lot better than just water without that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very good point.
Something that I learned many years ago when I became very dehydrated. I started doing the Chinese water therapy because the doctors couldn't work out what was wrong with me.
Oh, wow.
So I went home and did the Chinese water therapy because the doctors couldn't fix me up. So, and straight away, my body just absorbed this water and went, oh, I'm just dehydrated. So I've done it every day ever since.
Perfect. You know, it's amazing what the doctors know, but it's also amazing what the doctors don't know.
That part frightens me.
That's the thing.
One thing they did tell me at the time was that my mineral levels were very low.
Yep.
So they said, well, and I realized, well, yeah, that's when I put the two together.
That still doesn't make up for the fact that we need to intake a lot of water, right?
And that's why they were so low, because there was no water coming in.
Right.
So,
all right.
It was interesting. Back when I was looking up taking DHA and microalgae DHA, especially, they were saying how difficult it is to find a product that actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. And it's
Mhm.
interesting how you mentioned that these ones actually do cross the blood-brain barrier. So it's, yeah, that's interesting because I just learned it. I was learning it's quite difficult for a product to actually do that. You know, most products don't.
Our
do
magnesium does it.
Okay.
That's important. You know, magnesium in the brain is very important. It helps the arteries and small vesicles relax so they get more blood flow. Very important, very critical.
So I just had a funny picture of somebody like putting the dropper on top of their head, trying to get that, trying to get
works,
that
I'll
into the
do it.
brain.
That's hilarious.
It's got to go this way.
You have to go into
Yeah,
the
right,
ear
yeah.
and just tilt your head. But I was actually interested if you could share a bit about that skincare one that you had, because I think on the last call you said something like you
Oh,
cut the apple in half and you tested it out, and
oh yeah, I did do that.
I was interested in that.
Actually, we just made our big, we made our big sale. We just introduced it, and we just got a big order out of Korea. But here's what's in it that got everyone's attention. Of course, it has we use what's called a low frequency resonance pure water, meaning there's nothing to interfere with anything that we put in. Then we use hyaluronic acid and ionized calmate. And we make our own metallopeptide, which acts as a catalyst for the other ingredients.
Wow.
And then we use a gluconate and a lactate calcium. It's good for the skin. And then we have nanoionic trace minerals in it. And we have nanoionic gold, nanoionic copper, nanoionic platinum, and nanoionic silver.
Wow.
And this stuff, the women, we've tried it on about 30 women. They love it. They love it. They just feel so good. They just love it.
Oh, I'd love to stock some then.
Yeah, if you want to, you know, I don't think anything got in your shipment because we were just finalizing one last tweak that I made on the formula.
Okay. Yep. So we didn't get any samples.
Dang.
No, but we can get you. We'll get you some. We'll get you some.
Yep.
Get you some.
Well,
but I think you guys could do well with it. I really do, because it's a very unique product, and I didn't want to get into it. You know, I'm not trying. You know, we're having a information session, not a sales session. But I had to bring it up, the fact that we got a big fat order over the weekend, so it's pretty good.
That's good.
But
Good.
Australia, you know, dry skin down there is probably very prevalent unless you live along the coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of Australia does live along the coast because it's too damn hot inland.
Yeah. I know.
And dry, but yeah, no, there's I think 90 or 95% live on the coast or very near to the coast.
Yeah, I've been to Australia many times. I don't know if you knew. I worked with that company, HealthWorks.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I know HealthWorks. I know HealthWorks pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with them.
That's how I got onto your product originally.
Yeah, probably. And then that a company out of I think it's out of Taiwan and Malaysia, Agape Limited.
Yeah, don't know.
So okay. Anyway, I've been to Australia about, I don't know, 7, 8 times, I guess. Maybe.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
Next time you come over, you'll have to come and visit us.
Yeah, but you know, down the road, it'd be nice if we could do a big fat seminar somewhere.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's get everyone in the world on our magnesium and zinc.
Yeah, well, I started promoting it back then, and people having amazing results.
Yeah.
And that was a product that Health World were putting out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think they still buy some from us. Nothing like they used to, but
yeah, right.
Once in a
Interesting.
while, I think they have a few people that still want it, you know, but nothing like they used to at all.
Yep.
So anyway, all right, guys.
Okay. All right. I
Been
think.
good.
Have we got any more questions, Elijah?
No, it answered all my questions in about the first 10 minutes. So I was like, oh,
Okay.
That was awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Very good.
Very interesting. So yeah,
All right,
thank you very much for the conversation, and definitely do another one soon. That was awesome.
Okay.
So
Glad to see you guys in person too, or well, at least by video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. It's
first
nice to
time.
meet.
Next
First
time I
time.
might shave. I don't know if I'm going to shave again or not.
Yeah.
Yes, it was really good talking to you. It's good to see face in face. I know I've been dealing with these products for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great.
By
Well,
the way, your products have been shipped. You know that, right?
yes, yeah, I got the tracking numbers and that.
Okay.
So
Good deal.
we look forward to the Chromium coming on board, and we'll put another order in.
Yep. Okay.
So
Awesome.
very good. Awesome.
All right, guys.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time and your knowledge. It's brilliant.
Okay, and
Yeah,
as they
it's very-
say down in Australia, cheers, right?
That's it.
Cheers.
Okay.
I'll leave a link in the description of the video for anyone that's watching and wants to buy these products. So
Okay.
check them out.
Cool.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks. Good talking to you guys.
All
Take
right.
care.
Cool. Catch you guys later.
All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Roger.
Okay. Thank you.